How are you? It's been 2 weeks since my last update because a lot has happened in these last 2 weeks. Like I said before, there's been months of nothing. Now all of a sudden everything's happening. But something quite important has happened. I call it this is my installation of my nuclear SMR, my nuclear fusion small modular receivers. Yes, they've been installed. 20 kilowatts of solar panels right there. And here's 20 kilowatts panels right here installed, ground mounted, plenty of room here for sheep. And also, it's only been 2 weeks since they've been installed. They were literally installed like a couple of days after I did my last video. Something strange has happened because unfortunately, people like on X, I get told a lot that, the land under these things will be destroyed and be rendered useless. But that's a bit of a bummer because I've already noticed in a few spots where the ground has been disturbed around these footings, there's the grass is already coming through. What am I supposed to do with this grass? I know the neighbour's sheep sometimes get in here, well they used to anyway until I fixed the fence, but they were in here eating all the fresh grass. But like I said, it's a bit of a problem because that was apparently never meant to happen. It was meant to destroy everything, but yeah, it was, that's all crap and it's all just, it's X I guess now, isn't it? It's like the Facebook of short form social media. But yeah, this is our solar array. Beautiful. Not connected yet. This week coming, weather pending, is the batteries get installed. From now on, we're going to have 100% off grid. Remember the last video, we had our grid connection down there put on, and that's our backup supply because this will be our primary energy supply here. The solar panels, I love them. These pillars here, they go down, believe it or not, 2 meters, and they're all concreted in. And so these things aren't going anywhere. These are snow load rated. And the angle they're on, hopefully the snow won't sit on. We won't get that much anyway. You might get light dustings. And we're heading in towards spring, so I probably won't get any more snow this year. Which is a bummer because I like snow, it's fun. But yeah. Oh yeah, something else has happened apart from this. I've noticed here, this has all been disturbed too from the running of the cables and the power. It's all been disturbed. It's got some regrowth, but nowhere near as much as the regrowth under the disturbed land under those panels. Something wondering if the shading and extra moisture staying in the soil longer on top of the soil might be helping the grass grow more. Anyway. Yeah, this happened. Got that. That's our fixed wireless NBN connection. Pointed to a tower 800 metres up the road, which is good to actually get a decent internet speed. Now, before we've had Starlink, which is great because it's been very reliable, except when it snows, it's really, really windy and rainy. It drops out occasionally, but yeah, that's our fixed wireless. That's our primary internet connection now. Point up there, Starlink will still be online and operational, but that will be our backup because, as you know, half of us still work from home. Unfortunately, I don't. I now work down the south coast and got to commute backwards and forwards every few days. That's a bummer. That's probably why you might notice the Nissan Leaf is no longer here. The Nissan Leaf is now down the south coast where we rent a small place down there, a small unit. And the Nissan Leaf down there is my work commuter to and from work, the office there to a new unit there. And we use a Tesla for the big long trips up and down because unfortunately the Nissan Leaf does suffer from rapid gate. And as we were driving it down the south coast, it suffered from it badly, unfortunately. The battery gets really hot in the first DC fast charge and it never cooled down. So once we got the second DC fast charge, it's not out far our destination, the charge speed was limited to just a measly 14 kilowatts on a DC fast charger because the battery was too hot. Ironically though, as it was DC fast charging, the battery was cooling down because active driving, especially in heavy rain like it was in that night we took the car down, you're drawing a lot more than 14 kilowatts. You're drawing a lot more power up and down hills, regen, stuff like that. Battery got hot, but yeah. Anyway, next thing. Of course I'm back in a dam. Now, about 2 weeks ago, we had about 30 to 40 mils of rain. The dam filled up quite a lot, believe it or not. It actually filled up to this peg here. That's why the pegs are here, to measure the rate of filling. Anyway, it got to there, and then a couple of days later, dropped to there. Now, after a week, it's dropped back down there. That's disappointing, because I'm hoping, I want this dam to fill, obviously. Now, it's not for livestock, that's just because I like having a dam full of water. No particular reason yet. But, yeah, so we're trying to figure out why it's losing water. Is it losing water because of our porous soils, or is it losing water because the dams have been compromised? We don't know. And I know it's a future project, and long after the house is built. But eventually, we might want to turn this into like a something you can swim in. So maybe you're gonna have to, when it drains out, when it dries up, we're gonna have to dig it all out again, line it. Maybe I think I'll line it with clay, even line it with the plastic, and turn it into something we can swim in, so the water doesn't drain out and actually will fill up. So when it rains a lot, the water coming in here doesn't run off the surface, it runs underneath. So see along here, the water just sort of oozes out there and it runs down. Now I don't know if the dam is draining because this water level has reached a level where it can now flow under the wall via that layer in the soil. I don't know. Like I said, it's a future project, future problem, but it's nothing to worry about right now. And another hurdle passed, we had council inspectors come out. Yes, because you submitted the plans for the house, they're now in with council. Council inspector came out, took basically lots of photos of the land, asked lots of questions, and they're happy with it. Now, we weren't going to go with a worm farm type because, it's more environmentally friendly, no chemicals, that sort of stuff. We advise strongly against it by the council people because they said they've approved a few in the area, and they get killed off pretty quick because you need special cleaning products like in your dishwashing detergent, when you clothes washing, stuff like that, when you flush the toilet, when you clean your toilets too. All that cleaning stuff goes into the septic with the worms. And also your food waste and everything else goes in there. But if you have someone come over or you just forget to buy the right stuff, you can easily kill off the worms in that worm farm, rendering it useless and costing a lot of money to get it cleaned out and re-established, which is apparently not a good thing. So the council recommended going with the standard everyday septic with what do I call it, soak area, soak trench, that sort of thing, which you'll probably do. And he basically surveyed the land, have a look at the plans, and decided where you want to put the septic tank is a good place to put it. It's not going to have leaching anywhere, pretty much, especially into the dam or into the creek down the road. So that's a good thing. So that's a change of plans. We're now going with the septic tank, standard everyday septic tank. Once they approve the plans, which could be anywhere between now and 9 months, we don't know. Then once that's done, the house gets built. So until then, we have solar panels. My nuclear fusion small modular receivers have been installed, not generating power yet because they're not connected. Batteries get connected this week, weather pending. And after that, we'll be 100% off grid again with the grid backup, obviously because we run servers and we work off grid. Yeah, we do work off grid, but we work from home. So we need a permanent power connection that's going to be reliable. So we got that. And obviously 50 kilowatt hours of battery storage and 20 kilowatt hours of solar. So we should never actually have to touch that grid connection. Fingers crossed. I'm pretty confident we never will. But there, that's what we're up to so far. It's only a short update because that's only two big things that happened. Until then, we're waiting on council yet again. Well, not yet again, but yeah, we're waiting on council to do their approval stages. At which point, we give the go-ahead or pay the start build money to the builders and they start building a house in a factory. Which, of course, I'm going to document and tell you guys about because super exciting. I've never actually built a house before, especially one built in a factory. So, thank you for watching. If you got this far, I much appreciate it. And if you want to see how these things go and how modular factory built homes are built, then the usual thing: comment, like, subscribe, all that sort of jazz. And try not to tread on these big holes where the kangaroos have been hopping through the mud because they looks like they sink in quite deep. Buggers. They don't exactly have big wide feet for soft ground, do they? So, thank you for watching. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you all in the next update. Goodbye.